Hello YouTubers! Well, this is a little different video for me. It's not ham radio related, it's video editor related. Back when I started using KDENLive, it took me a while to figure out how to do overlay logos on the screen. An overlay logo is something like, something like this right here. Kind of looks like glass, you can sort of see through it, and looks like it's embedded in the screen. These little glass-looking logos started, back in the 80s, I think. MTV was one of the first to do it. And I remember we were all like, wow, look at that. It looks like it's engraved in our TV screens. So now, they're used everywhere. And this one took me a while to figure out how to do in KDENLive. I didn't find any tutorials that were very good at the time. And so I thought I'd put one together and I'd show you how you can do this on your videos in KDENLive. So we're going to go to the computer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go jump in the TARDIS, and we're going to go back in time to the point before you're seeing this video where I'm editing and this video, and I'm getting confused. Let's just go to the computer. So we're going to create a logo that's going to look like glass that's going to overlay our video. The first thing we need to do is create the logo. Now I use GIMP, which is a free photo editor very similar to Photoshop. Photoshop is going to have a lot of the same tools. So the techniques that I use in here you can apply inside of Photoshop. So first thing that we're going to do is we'll need our logo. Now I have already created my logo. I have it here. And what I did, it's a very simple logo. Yours could be more complicated, but what I did is I meticulously placed the logo over a transparent background. So if I copy this checkerboard area is all transparent, and I'll just see the logo. Now, to overlay a logo on video, you could take just this logo file and you could manipulate it in the video editor and get it to where you want it. And it would be a lot of work to do with each video edit. So what I did, and this is a real simple thing to do, is I'll create a new image and we'll make it HD resolution, which is 1920 by 1080. This would vary if you're editing in a different video resolution. If you're editing in 720p, then this would be 1280 by 720. I don't know what the 4K resolution is. Obviously it's 4K here. I don't know about width, but you want to create an image that is the pixel resolution of your common or target video resolution. Now you can probably create one in HD at the highest resolution and it'll scale down. What's important is that these proportions are right. And I want the background to be transparent. So we're creating our blank HD image that's completely transparent. I'll take my logo and I'll make a copy of it. And we'll go to our transparent layer and we will paste that as a new layer. Paste as new layer. Now I'm going to position my logo and I'm going to size it and I'm going to get it like I want it. That's a little too big. I want to make it a little bit smaller. I don't want it to be glaringly obvious and detracting from the video, so I'm going to scale that down to about the size that I want it. So on this would be your HD screen. There's the logo. That's the size of it. I'm going to zoom in on it for the rest of this tutorial. Okay, so we've got our layer here with our logo. I'll name that so we can just keep it straight. Flat logo. And I'm going to duplicate that layer a couple of times. I'm going to put one underneath the flat logo, and that's going to be my shadow, or the dark side of the logo. So I'm going to edit attributes, and I'm going to name that shadow. And the one above it is going to be the glints of white. Now if you look at something that's engraved, it'll have a sort of a white edge on one diagonal. And on the other diagonal, it'll have a dark edge. So I'm going to name this one shiny. Okay. So our shiny one we'll start with that one. We want it to be a bright color, like a light color. So I'm just going to take this, since this is black, I'm just going to invert the colors. So there's our white logo. We'll ignore the flat logo for now. Let's just hide those. And we'll go to the shadow. The shadow looks fine as it is. It should be dark. I do want to blur it just a little bit. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to blur it. That might be too much. Let's take that down just a touch. Okay. So now our shadow is blurred. Now our flat logo, I want it to be white as well as what the other one was. So I'm going to invert it. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm actually targeting gray with it. All right, so now I'm going to go in here to brightness. And I want to make that a little gray. So I'm just going to take the brightness down. Yeah, it makes it a nice gray. Okay, now let's take our shiny logo, the white one, and we'll move it just ever so slightly up and to the left, just a touch. And then we'll take our shadow logo and we will move it just a touch down into the right. All right, now if I turn those on and I put my flat logo at the top, okay, we're close, but we're a little off. I want to take that shiny one and I want to move him down just a bit. Let me zoom in a little closer. It sometimes is good when you're doing these to get right in on it so you can really see the detail. Okay, so I'm going to take my shiny one, get the effect I want. Do I want it mostly on that side? Do I want it just, there we go, just a touch. Now you can see how that is starting to look like what we want, like it's engraved, right? And it'll look even more engraved after we do a little transparency with it. So first, I want to merge these. Merge down, merge down. Now, my shadowed and highlighted logo is one item on one layer. I can move it independently. And I'm going to make it a little bit transparent. And that's probably about where I want it. Maybe go just a little bit more transparent. Maybe a little less, right about there. Okay, now that's looking pretty good. Obviously, this is to taste. You can sculpt this however you want. But once we've got our logo, and it's mostly transparent, let me zoom on out. It's where we want it to be. We're on a transparent background. This is pretty much our overlay for inside of Kdenlive. So I'm going to export this file as a PNG file. Portable Network Graphics is a lossless format, so you don't lose any detail like you do with JPEG, and it also preserves layers and transparency. So it's going to have all the information for this transparent background and the opacity of my overlaid logo. So I'm going to export that, and I've got a working file here for this particular video. So I'll call this overlay, and we'll export. Okay, now let's go into Kdenlive. Okay, now I have already started on this video. All right, so here's the beginning of this video. Hello, YouTubers. Well, this is a little different video. Okay, blah, blah, blah. You've already seen this part. Now let's look at the layout here. All right, I've got my main video on track 2. And above it, I have an empty track. Now, Kdenlive composites things from the top down. So you want to put your overlay in an empty track on top. If you're doing this after you've edited your video and you don't have an empty track on top, you can simply come over here and you can right click and insert track above video 1, and that'll create another track. It numbers it sequentially, so the next one is 5, but it's above video 1. Above is what's important. It needs to be above the rest of these videos, right? So let me just get rid of this track. So we've got our blank track above there. Now I need to go and find the place where I'm going to have my, let's see, I talked about it, didn't I?
Kind of looks like glass. You can sort of see through it.
Okay, it was before there.
An overlay logo is something like, oh, hold on.
Okay. There. Right about there is where I'm going to have it fully appeared. So let's go and open up my overlay right there. Oh. Right there. All right. Overlay. We'll bring it in and we'll drop it right here where we want it. Now, by default, it's compositing it full on, so there's no transparency. It looks like a solid white logo, but we had that with some transparency and all. So we need to actually composite this with an effect called composite. Let me stretch this out a little ways. And we will add a transition, and we'll select composite. And I'll make that the full length of the clip. Now, as you can see, it now looks opaque, or semi-opaque. There, you can see my hand through it. See that? That's the effect we want. Now, you can adjust this effect in composite here. You can you can wipe the logo in. You can do dissolves. This is keyframeable. So you can move it around and do positioning information, which I'm going to be doing in a moment. You notice that I pulled the logo into the video. I planned that out, and we're going to do that. But if it's not transparent enough, you can adjust that opacity. You can bring that down a little ways. You can make it even more transparent until you got it where you want it. And I think I'm actually okay with it being at 100%. Because I've already designed it with the transparency level that I wanted. So it's looking pretty good. Battery low. I'm about to lose my audio recorder, so I'm going to have to pause here and resync. Okay, I had to find some fresh batteries for my audio recorder. So we're back. All right, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the composite effect. It's keyframeable, and you can do quite a few things in here. You can create keyframes and you can move it, you can scale it. You can move it and scale it with these on-screen tools. You see the red box. I can actually move it around the frame. So I'm going to use that to have me pull the logo in when I had my hand move there. So we will go back to the beginning. Let's see here. How did I do this?
An overlay logo is something like, oh, hold on.
Okay. So I reach over and I'm going to pull it in about there. So I really want this title clip to start there. Oops. All right. And we will go into our composite. And we're at the beginning, and we're going to figure out how far out I'm going to have my hand where I would have let go of the logo about there. Like I was pulling on a string, and I start to open my fingers. And I'm going to create a keyframe. So here is where I want it to end up, where it is. And now we'll go backwards to where my hand is just off the screen as I'm pulling it in. And we will move it. Actually, we'll go right back to the beginning. All right, right there. Okay. And we will move it off. All right, so at this first keyframe, it is moved out of frame. And where my fingers begin to release on that keyframe, it is back in. So if I step through the sequence now, It looks like I'm pulling a string and pulling the logo in. See that? I think maybe I moved it too far out. I don't want it to be quite that far away, so we'll pull it in just a little bit on that keyframe. Now let's see how it looks. There we go. So that's the effect I want. Now let's look at it in real-time speed.
An overlay logo is something like, oh, hold on.
There we go.
Something like this, right here. Kind of looks like glass. You can sort of see through it. And look.
All right, so that's how we would do our overlay. Now, I'm going to want my overlay to run the full length of the video. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to grab the end of this here and I'm going to drag it all the way out to the end of my video so that the overlay is there the entire time. And then maybe at the end I want it to fade out, so we will just grab the top corner here where the green ball appears and do that, and we're dragging out, we're creating a fade to black where the logo is going to fade out into non-existence at the end of the video. And then we'll just pull this out to the end of the video. And that is how you composite a logo over your videos on Kdenlive. Pretty easy, that composite transition. I hope that was helpful for you. I'm going to put the rest of this video together, jump back ahead in the timeline, and publish it so you can watch it. Of course, you're watching it now, so I'm going to confuse myself again. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.